So let's recap what we've just covered. What we were talking about is really a process that helps you connect the dots in your own mind to where your next success is going to come from. You know, Steve Jobs had this very famous commencement address where he said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You just have to have trust in your gut that the dots will connect. And while I agree with that, you can see a little bit ahead where the dots might connect. And this is based on a training I did back in 2008 called GPS, where I taught theory of constraints. And when I taught that, what I found was that certain people, actually everyone who took the course, became better entrepreneurs just because of some of the work that you had to do when learning theory of constraints. And so over this past live stream, in addition to the previous one, we've covered that process. So what was that process? Well, step one was to understand what your goal is for your business, right? In the example that I had, my goal was to make $150,000 a month. The next step is to ask yourself why you're currently not achieving that goal, right? You will then come up with a bunch of things that are missing in your business. For me, I didn't have a customer acquisition product, right, that was getting me new customers every day. I didn't have a lead generation product. I didn't have mid-tier products. I didn't have a hot list. I didn't have all these things that I felt were required to have a $150,000 business. These were all defined as obstacles. We then converted those obstacles into what we called intermediate objectives by just turning them into the opposite. By, like, if I didn't have a front end product that acquired customers, I have a front end product that acquires customers daily. If I don't have mid-tier products, I have mid-tier products that increase the lifetime value of every customer, right? So I'm just taking those obstacles, I'm turning them into intermediate objectives, and now I am going to put them in sequence by looking at each intermediate objective, comparing it to the other one, and saying which one has to come first, this or this, which one has to come first, this or that, right? And so I'm putting them in sequence. Once I have them in sequence, I now have a map to my goal, right? I have all these intermediate objectives that are going to help me get to my goal. When I have them mapped out based on dependency, right, and sequence, then I ask myself, can I do this any faster, right? If I had to do this in 10% of the time, what could I eliminate? If I had to do 10x, what would I add? Is there, you're looking at all the different ways that you can challenge this map. Once you've fully challenged the map and now you're clear about what your business really needs, now you take these and now you're going to do what's called an IO map. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all those intermediate objectives that you have left and you're now going to define really what they identify. What are they a part of? If we were in NLP, we would say we would chunk up, right? So like we chunk up with a Porsche is a type of car, a car is a type of automobile, right? So a front end acquisition is a part of what? It's part of marketing, right? So it would be part of a marketing, effective marketing in a critical success factor, right? And so what we're doing is we're grouping these intermediate objectives now on this map to critical success factors and necessary conditions. And the easiest way to think about critical success factors and necessary conditions is this. If you looked at the critical success factors and you had all of those, you would have to have the goal. In other words, they are sufficient to cause the goal. And when you look at the necessary conditions as they relate to a critical success factor, same thing. What has to be present that if it was present, the critical success factor would be met? And if the critical success factors were met, the goal would be met. So it's conditional, right? And they are based on what goes below. And so now you have this IO map, right? Now, when you have this IO map, this really reflects what the business needs to achieve the goal. And now when you look at that, you ask yourself, why don't I have that right now? But not, before we asked what don't I have, now we're looking at what we don't have and we're asking why we don't have that. And that's going to come up with lots of problems in the business. And from those problems, we're going to define them as symptoms. We're going to take, between 5 and 10 of them. We're going to do a 2 whys deeper. So we call that a 2-layer matrix for each of those. And now we're going to take each of those substacks, right? We're going to throw them on a map that's called the current reality tree, and now we're going to start connecting all the cause and effects, and what you will find is a convergence of cause that will then show you what the root causes i.e., the constraint is in the business. So that's the process. And the beauty of that process, as I said when I started this recap, is twofold. One is it's going to identify for you the single biggest leverage point in your business to immediately get better results. And so that's first and foremost. You're going to identify the single biggest leverage point in your business. But the other benefit that is really long term, probably even more valuable to you, although you might not appreciate it up front, is that you will get better as just being an entrepreneur. Just doing that analysis that I just walked you through would actually make you a better entrepreneur, which would mean every decision you make will be better, right? That your day-to-day performance will be better. And that's why it was so important for me to go over this skill, okay? After we did that, I then asked for your help. And I asked for your help because I'm tying together these live streams with a podcast that I plan on launching, plus something that I want to add to my coaching program that we're going to soon be releasing, which is all about how can we help you be a better entrepreneur? Not, I teach entrepreneurs what to do to be better, right? But I want to also teach entrepreneurs just how to be a better entrepreneur, how to notice the things that will actually be those things that would drive your business the most, that many people are blind to, right? How to think about things, how to operate things, how to interact with people, how to do what someone who's been successful as an entrepreneur already does based on who they are, not because of what they read or what they're being told. And so we spent a bunch of time working on questions that would open that up, right? Questions that would help an expert identify one area of difference that they have with others. And then that would open up for me a place to dig deeper to kind of get answers. So that was the whole live stream today. I hope you got value out of it. I appreciate each and every one of you for being on this. And so thank you once again for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to interact with me. And if you're watching this in recap, then please join me on the next live stream. I do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Facebook, Tuesdays from 2 to 4, Thursdays 6 to 8. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure to join our group called Strategic Profits. That's where you can get the live streams, the recaps, and everything else. So I will see you next Tuesday to Higher Profits Beyond. This is Rich Sheffrin, over and out.